my next guests. Now, I've known these guys probably from my youth when we first started making our first records, and I've watched their progression. And when I say graffiti kings, right, these guys to me, it's like their whole life has been thrown into like the art of graffiti. And you know, we lost contact for a little while, then I see them on Facebook, and they're still there doing graffiti. Like, but they took things to a whole different level. And when I say that we used to go to concerts and stuff like that, and I used to see their tags everywhere, like walls, trains, everything. So these guys, I have to introduce you to some of my favorite people on this earth, Skore and Kilo.
Have you paid him?
I'll send you my account details later.
Excellent.
Yeah, so Skore, Kilo, thanks for coming down here.
Thank you.
And you know, what can you tell us about your early days in graffiti? I mean, you're from Kent,
yeah.
And I don't know if
I'm
you've
from all
always
over.
been.
I'm from
Yeah,
all
I
over.
was gonna say, from what I know, you were all over.
Yeah, I'm all
so, you know, what was it that caught your attention with graffiti?
For me, I was into art as a kid anyway, into lettering and band logos, stuff like the Madness logo and just comic books. So graffiti was a bit of a natural fit for me. So and obviously hip hop music, it led me to graffiti, do you know what I mean? So yeah, as soon as I saw it, that was kind of, I did a bit of breaking and stuff as well, but like graffiti was always going to be my thing really. It was just like tailor-made for me.
You said stuff like the Madness logo. Did you do the Madness logo?
I drew it on walls. yeah.
So you didn't come up with their logo?
No, but
Okay.
just it was like, you used to copy band logos, put them on your bag and stuff at school. Do
Okay.
it, you know what I mean? It was, so I was always drawing like lettering and stuff before graffiti.
So did you ever sell that to like other kids in the school?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
How
Used to
did that go for you?
decorate their bags and stuff for a bit of money and stuff. Yeah, it was
Okay.
good. Yeah, I was always an entrepreneur.
Okay.
At
Yeah,
school.
that's all
always
I've
had a
ever-
hustle. Do you know what I mean?
You know, ever since I've known you, you've always been that.
Yeah.
You know. So Kilo, what about yourself?
Similar sort of story, really. But I mean, I was like, I wasn't in London, so my family like moved from London to Exeter in 1983. So I kind of like was picking up what I could when I travelled back to London, and then taking it back down there, and like just kind of got into graph. My cousin's a writer from South London,
Who's
old
that?
school, Zeus.
Okay.
He's left the realms of spraying now. Kind of does more sculpture and stuff. But
Okay.
there's always been an interest, you know, like in our family. If like my mum was like a kind of wannabe artist, if you like. But yeah, hip hop, you know, same as Rob really. Copying little like feeler logos, you must have done them as well.
Exactly.
Ticini, all of
Chini,
those, yeah.
all of
All
that
over
stuff.
your school books.
All your school books and
Yeah,
stuff.
I can relate to that.
So was it hip hop that got you into graffiti, or
Yeah,
were you doing it
100%.
before?
Yeah,
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I remember like, I've got drawings that I did as a kid of other types of graffiti, like stuff like George Davis's Innocent and stuff that was all over London. Like, we used to travel through London when I was a kid, going to see my grandparents and that, and I was pretty obsessed with the graffiti. There's like a punk group called Case that used to do it all over South East London, and like George Davis's Innocent and like football graffiti. So I liked graffiti before like hip hop graffiti, you know. But
Okay.
yeah.
What about you?
Yeah, like same, you know, I used to draw when I was a kid, like warplanes and tanks and soldiers and stuff. I was obsessed with like war for some reason. I suppose most kids are, I don't know, maybe it's part. But then, yeah, like one thing led to another. I don't really consider myself to be much of an artist, if you like, but graffiti is what I gravitated towards, you know. Like, I can write things, but I can't draw things, if that makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
he's a bit more universal kind of thing.
Yeah, and I have to say, one of your friends that I want to get down is Mr. Nash.
Oh, yeah.
I need to get him down.
Yeah,
'cause
well,
that guy
he's
is
like, you know,
ridiculous.
he's gone down the next kind of
He's
level.
some other level. I
Yeah,
need him
definitely.
here, so I'll be in touch with him, and I'll make sure that he comes down. So you partnered up with your friend Tenor.
Yeah, me and Tenor went to school, like we've known each other since we were like 11, 12. There was a group of us, as you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like Cell and, you know, a bunch of us, do you know what I mean? 5 or 6 of us. I think that's the same for most people at school, you know, all the hip hop kids are at one part of the school, you know, and yeah, we there was 5 or 6 of us.
Okay.
Like me and Tenor were more the sort of graffiti side of things.
So did Cell ever get involved in that? 'Cause
Yeah, Cell used to write, yeah. I've painted trains and all sorts with Cell, yeah. He was big into graffiti until really, like, late 80s, like most dominant and stuff happened, like 1991. But yeah, he was a good writer, really good at characters. Like he's one of those guys that everything he does, he's, you know what I mean. He's just like, no, he did. We did a like maybe the first top to bottom whole car on the British rails, like together, the two of us.
Wicked. Where was that?
Just in our town. Okay. Yeah.
Because I remember seeing like a photo somewhere where someone, I think there was a submarine for some reason parked up in Kent somewhere.
There is one, yeah.
Right, and that was sprayed, and I swear I thought it was you guys that did it.
No. Now I've looked at it, and it's really hard to get to. You need like an inflatable boat, but a lot of it's mud. You can get stuck on the mud, and then you can't get out.
So you didn't do that?
No. Whoever did it,
or are you just lying to us?
No, it wasn't me. But yeah, I did look into it. I had a bit of a Google search, thinking I could paint it. Yeah.
So what would you say, both of you? What would you say is the biggest pieces that you've done? Not in terms of fame and glory, but like, have you ever kind of done an aeroplane or, you know?
For me, like, doing trains. Really, I think for most graffiti writers, is doing a tube. And I went to New York and painted the trains, and things like that stick in my mind. But also like famous halls of fame kind of thing, like doing a piece in Ladbroke Grove, certain spots. You know, like certain things sort of are elevated by their location, really, rather than the piece themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were traveling all over the place, when you weren't settled in one particular place, what was the temptations to just kind of bomb everywhere you went?
Yeah, well, that's like, for me personally, because I'm like a legit writer, if you like, so I don't really go step outside, you know, on the other side of the tracks much, now and then, but not much. So like, you've got to be kind of, you know, you've got to be careful about how you present yourself. So, but when you're abroad, that's a whole nother thing, you know, there's like less restrictions, you feel a little bit more free in terms of what you can do. So I tend to kind of like try and do a bit more when I'm out of the country. I don't know if that's the same for you, probably is, isn't it? This country is so suppressive.
I don't do anything illegal in this country because it is a police state. You know, people go to jail for 2 years, no problem at all, for even a first offence. You know, it's treated worse than horrible crimes. Do you know what I mean? Graffiti, because it's a it's a crime against money, basically. You know, and any crime in the money, like you can assault somebody and get like community service, but if you spray your name on a public place,
7 years.
It's just.
It's interesting that you say about you know, how the establishment doesn't really work for sort of the art in this world, in this country, in this side of the world. But when you go to places like Germany, it's like there's this freedom where people just seem to just be able to.
Same in the music thing, isn't it?
Exactly.
There's so many more. It seems like there's so many more opportunities in like European countries. I don't know whether they've just got like a more liberal sort of mindset or whatever, but over here it's just like they just want to control everything.
They treat
if you've got
graffiti,
free thinking,
they treat it like it should be. It's a misdemeanor, graffiti. Do you know what I mean? It's like a youthful exuberance. If you're a kid, it's the sort of thing you do. Do you know what I mean? And it's treated like that. Here it's treated. They charge people for conspiracy. That's the charge. You don't really get arrested for graffiti here. They arrest you for conspiring to do graffiti,
which is ridiculous.
And they see
which is a much bigger crime.
They see there's some kind of terrorism or something.
Yeah, exactly. Conspiracy is like 10 years in prison maximum.
You mentioned terrorism. I mean, when I got arrested, that was like 1989. Like, I was living in Exeter in Devon at the time, and you would have thought it was like crime of the century. Literally, I had like 8 police officers that came just for me, 2 in front, 2 behind, either side, and it's like just for writing my name on a few like surfaces.
That's mental. But then you get a paedophile and
exactly,
and sending a female officer right back.
The sentences don't relate either. We'll get hammered. The paedophile will probably just get like, I don't know, 12 months or something, and then let out again. You know, on a list.
That's mental.
What does that mean?
I mean, like I've always said, I just feel like this country has stifled all kinds of
creativity.
Art. I mean, it's taken them how many years to recognise that, you know, you got talent on your doorstep in the football world, for example. Like basically because they're constantly buying in talent from elsewhere and they're not focusing on what they got on their own doorstep. So do you feel that that's the same with graffiti? Like a lot of people have stopped because of the restrictions, and you know that there was potentially the next huge artist that never got to be seen.
I mean, it's very hard, isn't it, to like make money out of graffiti in this country, you know, unless you're prepared to sell your soul, and I'm not prepared to do that.
A lot of people don't do it as well for monetary reasons, but like by getting arrested for graffiti, it's obviously messed up a lot of people's lives. Do you know what I mean? So that side of things, like there's been kids who have like, innocent kids gone to prison like for something and hung themselves. You know what I mean? That's like happened, and people being chased in prison because they're just not criminal kids. You know, they're just quite normal
and
kids.
They can't cope when they get in.
And when they get in prison, they're not from that background.
Or they go in and then they come back as criminals.
Or the police have chased people out of train yards across live tracks and they've been killed.
Yeah.
There's been so many things, like just because of the overreaction in this country to it.
Yeah.
You know, the police get really gung-ho.
Yeah.
And kids die. Do you know what I mean?
Do you remember that situation? One of the rioters in Covent, I think it was 1982, 83, died on the subway.
Right.
Do you remember that?
Make sure you get your ears right in Covent.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have been.
I swear it was 1982. But yeah, I forget his name, but I'm pretty sure one of the rioters, he got chased by the police in the subway.
The one everybody really remembers is this guy Race, and it was in '88, and they chased him. He ran up the bank, and then the police chased him back down the bank and across all of the electric rails.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure this was before. It was when I was in Covent at the time.
Yeah.
In '82.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Sure, it's 82 now.
No, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But obviously, you're saying that you didn't do graffiti for money, and that's the case with most of the people. They just love the art. But there are certain people that have gone on and done big things, but they're not respected within the graffiti scene.
I don't know.
Depends on their background, really.
People have always. Graffiti is a very competitive environment. There's a lot of jealousy. There's a lot of ego, like massive egos. So any way of discrediting anybody, and like the hip hop world's the same. Yeah. Anything anyone can use against you, they will use against you. So if you do a commercial job, there's always going to be people going, this guy's a sellout, this guy's in it for the wrong reason, but, I mean, Artful was probably the first guy.
Yeah.
When he did the Weetabix in '85.
Amazing.
Everybody, he got like national fame, but, a lot of people straight away just went, oh, Artful Dodger, he's just that guy. Do you know what I mean? Didn't really get the respect, and it's only now, I think, looking back, people can go, what an amazing guy he was at the time,
He still is.
He's still an amazing artist, but at the time, he would say that he suffered.
I had the same thing with the music side.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a thing with the entertainment world in this country. They don't like to see people progress.
That's what I was going to say. People in this country don't seem to like to see people succeed and get ahead, even when they're from the same kind of ilk, the same culture, which is bizarre.
And when they do get that transition where it's like they've made it, people are like, yeah, I'm happy for him, but then the following month they're all like slagging that person off, and there's a stigma attached to the country here with the scene.
Oh yeah, I think it all comes from the media. That's where I think it comes. Like tabloid mentality is through everything: music, football. Yeah. People like informing on each other. Like that's encouraged. All these sort of sly behaviours, racism, all this stuff. It's like 1 minute they're going on about racism, the next thing they're sort of going on about immigrants. Do you know what I mean? They play this game, and it poisons.
Okay.
A lot of people's attitudes, I think, and that comes through with graffiti, I think, and everything, Okay.
So, moving forward years and whatever, how do you see that has kind of influenced the person that you are today?
For me personally, getting involved in graffiti was kind of like, it opened up so many doors in terms of like where I could take myself. Like the job I do now, I got that from doing like occasional sessions in basically like a pupil referral unit. I never had any aspirations to get into teaching of any sort, but now I'm like an unqualified teacher, and that's purely and simply as a result of doing graffiti.
And as a graffiti you teach?
No, I do like a little bit, but it's kind of like they still got to follow a certain curriculum, do you know what I mean? But it's like, I never envisaged I'd be doing that. I started out life when I left school as like maintenance fitter, welding and stuff, so it's like a world away from where I am now. But that would not have happened, I don't think, had it not been for the fact that I was already like involved. I was doing a little bit of youth community work here and there, like doing some graffiti stuff, and that was like a natural progression. So personally, it's opened up a career, I suppose, in a sense, because God knows what I'd be doing otherwise.
I was going to ask you that. So if you weren't doing that, what would you be doing?
Probably like everyone else in the kind of mainstream, going and getting, can I say pissed? I just going and drinking, and like getting into fights and probably getting beaten up every time I tried to do that, and going to football, whatever, like I'd just be like following the mainstream hub, if you like. But graffiti's like its own separate world away from that, isn't it? You know, you have to kind of, like for me personally, it's almost like living two lives, because I'm working in the school during the day, and then, you know, my own time, perhaps I'm meeting up with him, painting or whatever, you know, it's like a separate kind of life.
Yeah, it's a double life, definitely,
I have to say, I'm actually amazed that after all these years that I've actually known you guys, that you're still doing it, and you've still got the same level of passion.
It's like, well, today, before I came to this, like I mentioned, I've been to like the local spot, because obviously I'm not from Kent, but through Rob got to know about the spots around here, so I've already painted this morning, and he has as well.
Yeah, I painted as well somewhere else.
It's wicked,
It's a day off.
And what I was saying about when we used to go, like, because obviously I'm from South London, when we all got together and got on the trains and the buses and stuff, your names were everywhere.
Remember, I was
you were out of the way, but I used to see Tenor, and we were all like, who are these guys? And then bit by bit started, and then. As luck would have it, as chance would have it, when I'd done my first record, Lyrical Maniac, you guys all turned up on my doorstep talking about tossing off.
Don't sound like them.
I mean, I don't know when we met, but we would have sort of definitely by 1990, where you were selling your stuff down at Groove and stuff, and we were hanging out.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I
all
met.
the time. Yeah.
That's where I met. I know that for a fact. That was through you guys. We were talking about this outside. You know.
Yeah. But I think I was doing some tagging on one of your videos once and stuff.
You were.
Yeah, about 691 tags and stuff.
Right. So our friendship goes back a long way.
Yeah.
And you know, like we said, we met outside Groove Records, and then I came and did shows in Tunbridge, and we were like one big family. I even came to house parties at your place, and you know, the vibe was always like. It was different, because we're in South London and we're thinking like London is where hip hop is, and then we come to your place and the passion that you guys have got is some next level.
Yeah, we were fanatical. We were fanatical.
Obsessed.
Really like.
But that's true, because I think in the regions, I think it was almost more intense, because you didn't have as many opportunities. You know what I mean, same for me, because I was living in Exeter at the time.
Yeah.
Didn't have as much opportunity to like get to get the real essence of what hip hop was about. So you kind of like. You became almost obsessed in creating your own
we
scene,
were obsessed.
Doing your own jams, doing your own this.
Even listening to the radio to get like London, like we were only 30 miles out, but you had to hold a few coat hangers to the radio to get a signal. So and all the hip hop shows were late night, weren't they? Whether it was like LWR or anything. Yeah. So it was like. You know, like stay around a friend's house, stay up all night, keeping each other awake, and then get somebody be holding the aerial, somebody be doing the pause button tapes, and that was the same for every element of hip hop. You know, like we were just fiends.
I think like there is kind of like this kind of, you know, like London kind of puts itself up on a plateau above everything else, and it's like nothing else really. Like in the graffiti sort of terms, there was the whole bumpkin thing, wasn't there?
Yeah, we always got that country bumpkin.
I like it though. I quite like that.
Well, it gave you guys identity, and not only that. What was entertaining for me is like I see everyone, like, in no disrespect to like other graffiti artists, but they put you lot down so much.
Oh yeah.
And then 30 years later, you're the guys that everyone's still talking about.
I always think when you put down, it's because you're a threat, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Well,
so I like that, you know, like people put you down, you're obviously on their radar.
Yeah, they're thinking about you.
Yeah. No, it's good. I love the competitive edge of graffiti and all the dissing and the. It's part like
it's what makes you. So
it's what makes it like an arena that you want to step into, isn't it? Like
hip hop is a competitive culture.
You know, if we all sat around a campfire and patted each other on the back all the time, we'd get bored quite quickly, wouldn't we?
You know, we're not doing that no more then.
I like that.
Can we switch the subject quickly to dog food on? Let's not go there. Simon asked me to say that one.
Oh, okay, I bet he did.
Oh God. Yeah, let's swerve that.
Swerve, boom, 360. Right, Robbo, what does that name mean to you guys?
He's a good friend of ours, you know, and he was in the day he was the most uprighter
legend
on the trains, you know, like king of a lot of lines, and just a top all round guy, just a London legend,
So can you elaborate on that little beef between him and Banksy?
Robbo was retired at the time, really, and Banksy went over this old piece, and it pissed off a lot of writers because they saw it as like, you know, that he'd gone over this sort of one of the, you know, the oldest pieces of graffiti in London, and it seemed like a disrespect. Although he probably thought it was quite a respectful thing of bringing it back to life, because it was slightly written on and stuff. So, and I think Robbo really I think he was encouraged to use the situation to try and maybe do something a bit like Banksy and make a little bit of money. Do you know what I mean? I think that's what it was really. John just thought, oh, there might be some money in this, and then a few people like a film crew decided they wanted to do a film about it, and he loved it, didn't he? He loved the attention, sort of thing, you know.
I watched it all.
I think of it like a bit like the old East Coast, West Coast, you know, rivalry in terms of music. It's kind of like it was made more than it was by the media. You know, like Rob said, there was definitely a reason for it.
Banksy's done a lot of good things for writers. Like when writers have been inside, a friend of mine went to prison for a couple of years. He donated a painting to him.
Okay.
When Robbo passed, he donated some stuff to the family. Do you know what I mean? He's you know, people like to demonise Banksy, but I think he was. The problem most people have with street art is the people that came after him on his coattails that tried to, like, do you know what I mean? It's suddenly the Banksy thing. You had like 50 Banksys all doing stencils of rats, and you know, like him himself. We both knew him before
he was Banksy.
When he was doing traditional graffiti in Bristol.
So are you still in touch?
No, he's become a bit of a paranoid recluse, I think, because of the media.
Okay.
You know, the media in this country. Do you know what I mean? He's just like. I don't know anybody, but I know a couple of people who work for him. But you know, they don't really say too much about what he's up to these days, just because the media are all over it, aren't they?
So I mean, looking back at that situation, do you ever wish that you could have had the opportunities that he had to get there, or are you happy where you are?
Yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't really interest me.
It kind of goes back to like you were saying about, you know, the people that make money out of graffiti. I ain't got a problem with that at all. Like, why would you if it's something you love? But it's like, for me, because I tried to do that, you know, when I took redundancy, I thought I could become this, you know, get commissions and whatever else. But I quickly realised that it took away all the sort of purity and the enjoyment I had. So for me, I've kind of, it's my hobby, it's my lifeline, if you like. But I don't feel that I need to be making money out of it. You know what I mean? I'd rather like have a mundane job, as sad as it sounds, and then be able to enjoy myself in my spare time, and you know, have these sorts of situations.
I mean, look, every single time I've spoken to you guys, whether it's on phone or on a WhatsApp group chat or whatever, you guys have always seemed really happy-go-lucky, and you know, it's like you're content with where you are. So I know that, you know, when you do graffiti and you say you do it because you love it, I know that's the case.
You know, I'm making money out of graffiti at the moment because of the coronavirus.
Another sellout.
You know what I mean?
You know,
you know,
I've just been doing it. You're doing
I've just been
through,
making books and selling like stuff like that. So I've kind of fallen back on it because it's a skill that you've got, and when your normal job passes by, you know, it is a hustle. You can turn a little bit of money around, do a bedroom here, a canvas there, and you know, like I say, create a few books.
Wrong with that either, you know?
No, but I mean, I would rather not make graffiti my career.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Because
it's like I did with the I did with the rapping as well. It got to a point where it became a job, and
and then you don't love it. It's not your hobby and your passion.
It's
your you know. So at the moment I'm doing it, but I don't see I'm going to do it for years. I'm just doing it because of the current situation. Do you know what I mean? And it's working out quite cool. I'm quite enjoying it.
Just to round it all off, you mentioned you do your books and all that kind of stuff. So I see that you brought a few books here. Can we finish off on just you promoting your books, telling us what they're about?
Well, I've done 8 books in the last few years. Do you know what I mean? So this is the most recent one I've done, which is 10 writers. 10 guys. 10 of the most influential, I would say, from the UK scene.
Is that your most recent?
Yeah, this is my most recent book. Sort of picked like each of the 10 guys all selected 10 pieces. Do you know what I mean?
Pointed at the camera.
Yeah. So that's that book. This is also really, really recent. It's called a Lockdown Diary, and it's 80 pieces I did during the lockdown.
Okay, wicked.
So yeah, that's just. So yeah. Of course you can, yeah. So yeah, but yeah, a selection of things really that I've been doing. Yeah, no worries. So yeah, and I've just been sort of like I went up to Nottingham yesterday to a graffiti shop, and they were just like, we sell so many books and nothing UK. It's really, really refreshing to have some UK stuff that we can promote. So it's early days. I'm just building it up really, but I think it's.
Well, I'm impressed.
Yeah,
Because we, you came here a couple of months ago. We sat there. I saw your books, and I knew you'd done 1 or 2. I didn't realise you'd done so many.
Yeah, it's been getting out of hand.
Yeah, so you just need to find yourself another hobby.
Yeah.
Do you know what his next project is, don't you?
No.
Writers' Wives. It's going to be a new one.
We were joking the other day about doing like a nude calendar, trying to find 12 writers.
I'm sure you'll do it.
With a well-placed spray can.
All right, so guys, we need to obviously finish the interview.
Yeah,
Is there
no
anything
worries,
that you want to say about yourselves that you feel is important, and anything? And at some point, it'd be great to get you in for another interview, because I feel like half an hour is never enough for people of your caliber, like artists of your caliber. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it would be wicked to get you in again. But is there anything you would like to say?
You go first.
Nothing's really springing to mind other than just thanks to everybody I've met along the way that supported me and painted with me and hooked me up with spots and everything, and I'll be doing it from now until the day I die. I won't be finishing. Do you know what I mean? It's I don't really feel like I'm living unless I'm painting. It's just such a part of me now. Do you know what I mean? And
Is there a name you've given to the collection of books, or is it just?
Well, I publish under London's Burning.
Okay, do you want to promote that?
Well, if anybody wants to find my books, just find me on Instagram at Skore TRC, Skore TRC, and just hit me up on the DMs, and I'll send them all the information on the books. I'm on eBay as well, so look for me on there.
Okay, what about you?
Well, pretty much what Rob said, I suppose, in terms of words of wisdom and that. The only thing I'd add to that would be like, if you're going to get into this, graffiti, whatever it might be, make sure you do it with a passion. Don't just do it because you want to try and make some coin, or you want to just, it seems like all your mates are doing it, so it looks like a laugh. Like, do it for the right reasons, because, otherwise there's no point really. We've been in this 30 plus years, 35 plus years.
But that's the kind of stuff that leads to suicides, because you have so high aspirations, nothing comes of it, and then.
Yeah, but I think it's like anything. If you really are passionate about it, and you really want to get into this, then as long as you put the time in, it will happen. You know. But the media, the technology now, it's made it so much more easy access, if you like. So you get these young kids who be looking at something on Instagram and thinking they're going to be able to do that in 2 weeks. No, it's going to take 20 odd years.
Just tell me.
It doesn't happen overnight.
No,
that's for sure.
So be real about why you're doing it, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Don't just do it for the sake of, because your nan does it.
Okay.
Did your nan do it? I don't know. Mine probably did.
Yeah, your nan was cool.
Rest in peace.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that's a perfect place to finish. Thank you again to Skore and Kilo for coming down for the interview. I would love to get them in again, because I think these guys' story is so immense that there's no way you can fit it. It's like asking 35, 40 years to be put into 35 minutes. How do you do that? You just can't. So if you guys are up for it, I'd like to get you in again at some point, maybe 5-6 months down the line.
Of course, mate.
And see where it goes.
Yeah,
and this time, bring the perv with you.
Which one? There's a long list of pervs, Yeah, no, we bring him along.
I know the one you mean. We know the one you mean.
Yeah, the little one.
The little bold one.
Bring him along next time.
All right.
Shout out to Perry.
Yeah.
Tenner.
Tenner.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
No
Thank
worries.
you.